The Arctic is warming at more than twice the global average. As temperatures rise, the physical environment undergoes rapid degradation, transforming an ecosystem that has been relatively stable for thousands of years. Standard ecological predictive models suggest that highly specialized predators face extinction when confronted with this kind of sudden niche collapse. The Arctic fox, Vulpes lagopus, is a keystone predator of this biome. While the models predict its decline, recent field data show the species actively defying those extinction projections. From 2021 to 2023, researchers tracked a population of 60 foxes on the Alaskan North Slope. They recorded a series of behavioral shifts that challenge traditional understandings of specialized carnivores. Faced with extreme climate velocity, the Arctic fox is currently deploying millions of years of deeply encoded evolutionary software to recalibrate its behavior in real time. Historically, the Arctic fox is classified as a nocturnal hunter, adapted to track its prey under the cover of darkness. This chart tracks the temporal foraging activity of the Alaskan population. It shows a rapid inversion of that nocturnal baseline. By the end of 2023, diurnal foraging activity rose by 30.1%, surpassing nighttime activity for the first time in the study. This temporal shift aligns with the breakdown of their primary food source. Warming temperatures have destabilized the population cycles of lemmings, making them an unreliable caloric base. This table breaks down the resulting dietary pivot. In 3 years, the fox's reliance on lemmings dropped from 62.3% down to 33.7%. To fill the deficit, foxes scaled up substitute prey, with bird and egg consumption more than doubling. Accessing these alternative food sources requires a change in hunting schedules. Marine tides and coastal bird colonies operate on daytime cycles, requiring the foxes to adopt diurnal patterns to successfully forage. By shifting to coastal resources, the fox decouples itself from its classic ecological dependency on tundra rodents. Territory is shifting along with the diet. Traditionally, Arctic foxes prefer to build their dens in the soft soils of coastal lowlands, near marine resources. But rising temperatures mean these zones are now subject to accelerated erosion and flooding. The historic denning grounds are physically washing away. Tracking data confirms the foxes are abandoning the coast. Over the study period, researchers recorded a 13% increase in new den sites located inland, above the 100-meter elevation mark. Soil analysis of these high-elevation dens reveals a specific migration toward habitats with higher sand content and lower moisture. This shift correlates with permafrost mechanics. Dens require deep, stable permafrost to maintain internal thermal stability and prevent structural collapse, conditions that coastal soils increasingly fail to provide. Moving inland to higher ground is a behavioral defense against active layer degradation, rewriting spatial distribution models for the species. Outside of the breeding season, the Arctic fox is traditionally a solitary hunter. The species is historically programmed for isolation. Yet the field data reveals a statistical anomaly, a 15.2% rise in cooperative hunting among genetically unrelated non-kin groups. To secure marine resources and navigate bird colonies, the foxes formed cooperative networks averaging 3.8 individuals per group. This chart shows the efficacy of that strategy. By 2023, these cooperative non-kin networks achieved a 71.9% success rate for marine hunting. Suppressing solitary instincts to form temporary hunting coalitions is a significant biological indicator of stress-induced phenotypic plasticity. How does a mammal execute such a systemic change in temporal, spatial, and social instincts in just 36 months? To find the mechanism, we must look to the late Pleistocene. During the last ice age, the mass extinction of megafauna created a severe genetic bottleneck for all predators. Surviving that brutal glacial era required predators to develop extreme geographic mobility, dietary flexibility, and severe cold adaptation. The fossil record shows that while larger, rigid apex predators died out, early canines utilized rapid behavioral shifts to survive the collapsing ecosystem. We can see the legacy of this bottleneck in the modern genomic data of Arctic fox populations, mapped through phylogeographic structure, the isolation of distinct DNA lineages in specific regions. The defining genetic signature of the Arctic fox is an almost complete absence of rigid borders across the circumpolar region. This lack of genetic isolation points to a historical pattern of constant migration, interbreeding, and adaptation during past interglacial warming periods. The behavioral fluidity observed in Alaska appears to be a deeply encoded survival mechanism, forged in the ice ages and triggered by modern environmental stress. When we synthesize the temporal, spatial, and social data, a unified profile of the new Anthropocene Arctic fox emerges. The empirical data suggests a mammal can shift its core hunting habits, denning parameters, and social architecture within a 36-month window. This challenges older predictive models, showing that a destabilized biome does not guarantee the immediate collapse of a keystone predator. There are still biological limits to this plasticity. The long-term viability of these elevated dens and non-kin networks remains a question if the rate of warming ultimately outpaces the rate of adaptation. But the history of the Canidae family, stretching back to the last glacial maximum, reveals a lineage built on resilience. While the Arctic ecosystem is fracturing, the Arctic fox is successfully deploying millions of years of evolutionary programming to survive the Anthropocene.